Charleston, South Carolina, was a city of immense strategic and symbolic importance during the American Civil War. It was one of the Confederacy's major port cities, serving as a vital hub for the export of cotton and the import of military supplies and other goods essential for the Southern war effort. Charleston's significance was also deeply rooted in its history. It was a leading center of commerce and culture in the antebellum South. The city's strong defenses included Fort Sumter, Fort Moultrie, and a series of other fortifications designed to protect the harbor and the city itself. Charleston's defense was a matter of pride and resolve for the Confederacy, especially after the war began with the bombardment of Fort Sumter in April 1861, an event that underscored the city's central role in the conflict. The Union recognized the importance of capturing Charleston early in the war. In 1863, Union General Quincy Adams Gilmore launched a significant campaign aimed at seizing the city. The campaign included a prolonged siege and heavy bombardment of Charleston's defenses, particularly Fort Wagner on Morris Island. The assault on Fort Wagner became notable not only for its intensity, but also for the participation of the 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry, one of the first African-American regiments in the Union Army. Despite their valor and the Union's sustained efforts, the Confederate defenders, under the command of General P.G.T. Beauregard, managed to repel the attacks. The city's fortifications, including the formidable defenses around Fort Sumter, proved resilient against Union assaults and naval bombardment, allowing Charleston to remain under Confederate control. The strategic situation began to change dramatically in late 1864 with Union General William Tecumseh Sherman's march to the sea after capturing Atlanta in September 1864. Sherman embarked on a campaign of total war aimed at crippling the Confederacy's ability to sustain its war effort. His army of 60,000 men marched from Atlanta to Savannah, destroying railroads, factories, and other infrastructure in their path. This campaign not only deprived the South of vital resources, but also aimed to break the will of the Southern people by bringing the war to their doorstep. By December 1864, Sherman had successfully captured Savannah, Georgia, without a significant fight, and he turned his attention northward towards South Carolina, the cradle of secession. His march was characterized by widespread destruction, further demoralizing the Confederate population and military. As Sherman's forces advanced into South Carolina in early 1865, Confederate General P.G.T. Beauregard faced the daunting task of defending Charleston with limited resources. The Confederate High Command recognized that they could not hold the city against the overwhelming numbers and superior logistics of Sherman's army. The Union strategy involved a combination of land and naval operations to encircle and isolate Charleston. With Sherman's forces approaching from the interior and Union naval forces maintaining a blockade, the Confederate defenders had little choice but to abandon the city to avoid being trapped. On February 17, 1865, Confederate troops began a systematic evacuation, destroying military supplies, arsenals, and other infrastructure to deny them to the advancing Union forces. Fires set by the retreating Confederates, intended to destroy strategic resources, spread uncontrollably, causing widespread damage to the city. On February 18, 1865, Union forces, including the 21st U.S. Colored Troops, entered Charleston without encountering resistance. The fall of Charleston was a symbolic and strategic victory for the Union. It deprived the Confederacy of a major port, a critical supply line, and a significant symbol of Southern resistance. The capture of Charleston, coupled with other Union victories in early 1865, marked the final unraveling of the Confederate war effort. The psychological blow to the South was significant, as Charleston had been a bastion of Confederate pride and determination. The Union occupation of the city was marked by scenes of jubilation among the freed African American population, who saw the arrival of Union troops as a moment of liberation. The fall of Charleston was a pivotal event in the closing months of the Civil War. It underscored the effectiveness of Union strategy, including General Sherman's devastating campaigns, and highlighted the Confederacy's dwindling capacity to defend its territory. The capture of Charleston, along with the fall of other key Southern cities, paved the way for the Union's ultimate victory. Just 2 months later, General Robert E. Lee surrendered to General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse, effectively ending the Civil War. The fall of Charleston thus represents both a critical military achievement and a turning point that contributed to the end of one of the most defining conflicts in American history.